My name is Stephen King. I've written several motion pictures, but I want to tell you about a movie called Maximum Overdrive, which is the first one I've directed.
Wow. What in the dickens is going on around here?
A lot of people have directed Stephen King novels and stories, and I finally decided if you want something done right, you ought to do it yourself.
And who was driving it? I don't know.
Curtis! It's coming after us!
It was my first picture as a director, and you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
What is going on?
I don't know!
I just wanted someone to do Stephen King right.
You want a war? You got one. I just want to get the hell out of here.
So come and spend some time with me and my friends at the Dixie Boy. Spend some time in the dark.
Please don't let us be in the dark.
Help me.
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you. And that's a promise.
You're going to get us in an awful lot of trouble, man.
We already in trouble.
Maximum terror.
Jesus coming and he is.
Maximum King.
Maybe tomorrow will be our world again.
Dino De Laurentiis presents Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.
Imagine your worst nightmare machine takes over the world. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Boo.
Yeah,
that one sucked.
Yeah,
what the hell? Emilio Estevez. That's what I'm blaming for that.
Welcome to episode 27 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And continuing Stephen King month with special guest Katey.
Hello!
We watched...
The lone not sick person on this podcast.
Yeah, I haven't gotten sick yet.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
It's has been real terrible. Been a terrible week. We watched 1986's Maximum Overdrive, which did not hold up for me as much as I remembered it holding up after 7 years.
I didn't enjoy it as much this time.
Well, it was my first time watching it, and I actually... Oh my god, my cat's eating styrofoam. Hold on.
That's maybe the best aside we've ever had on this podcast.
Yeah, this did not, I hadn't seen it. I saw a bunch when I was younger, and I loved it, and then I had not seen it in probably 7 or 8 years, and I was watching it today, and I was just like, oof, I do not want to watch this anymore.
Okay, so yeah, I watched it for the first time today, and I actually liked it. You know, aside from this thing that I've come to realize when I rewatch movies, 80s movies, that there's some really weird thing where they're not the scenes just happen and there's no reason. I don't know, they're not connected somehow, and you're just oh, okay, this thing's happening now. Aside from that, I actually really liked it. I think so far, aside from the It remake, I like this movie out of the three the most.
I don't know. So far, I think this is the least of my least favorite of the three, but I definitely think Dreamcatcher will be the worst of them.
Oh no, Dreamcatcher rules. It's number one.
I mean,
in my heart.
Fuck. Oh, I can't do this.
We're just plunging you straight back in.
I also
back into madness.
don't. I've been watching good shit for like a week and a half. And then I had to watch this, and I was just like, God damn it.
You idiot, you ruined your tolerance.
Yeah. I also think that, like, I may have watched, like, an edited version of it. So, it's either that or just, like, when I was looking up stuff about it, I was coming up with stuff that Stephen King had to, like, cut out to get his MPAA rating. Because, like, I know I've seen pictures of, like, a chainsaw that, like, attacks somebody or something. But that was, like, not in the version I watched. And there was, like, some other stuff that just, like, cut away, like, very quickly. Or just, like, would, like, make it look like it was going to show something and then didn't, so...
Yeah, I watched it on some, like, weird streaming thing. And they didn't show a lot of stuff that I remember either, so...
Yeah, because there is that, the electric, like, carving knife.
Yeah.
That gets the lady, and it, like, saws her hand, and then there's a pretty long shot of it, like, sawing into her ankle or her foot.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah, I feel like that's, like, the worst thing that happened, though.
It was pretty much just that, and then, like, people being shot towards the end. But there's, like, I know there's a whole list, I just didn't write any of it down, that was on, like, IMDb of... And then, like, the kind of popular story where George Romero has said that, like, he saw the original cut and it made him sick. And, like, Stephen King has talked about having to cut out just, like, massive amounts of stuff just to get, like, a not X rating. So
I'm very curious what that could include, since they literally steamrolled a child.
Well, like, if you get on, like, IMDb under, like, the trivia stuff, it's got, like, a big list of, like, this stuff he had to cut out. And, there's also...
Important question.
What? Go ahead.
Does it have the models of all of the cars?
Oh, God, I wish.
Of all of the trucks. If there's, like, any reason to have them, this would be the movie.
Yeah. This is the movie you need that for.
I need to know what kind of car, make and model, Yardley Smith and the dude she's with were driving.
That car went through a lot of shit, so it would be good to know.
Could you imagine trying to make a list of every car in, like, the drawbridge scene?
Oh my god.
We need to figure out who's been doing that and be like, hey, start working on Maximum Overdrive. Make this
We won't pay you, but...
Yeah, we don't have any money, but do it anyway.
They can just do it for the exposure. I mean, that's how it works.
Even
yeah,
though,
obviously.
I don't think IMDb gives the name of who adds the trivia. So this movie was written and directed by Stephen King, the only movie he has directed. Katie, do you know what the name of the story it's based off of?
It's called Trucks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so it was released in 1978 as part of a collection of short stories called Night Shift, which I think everyone should read because all of the stories are really good. It's won a bunch of, like, prizes, and well, not prizes, but awards. I gave
got some stuffed animals. It was
right.
Cool.
And so most notably, I think, is Children of the Corn short stories, and that sometimes they come back, and then some other stuff that's in the movie Cat's Eye is in that one, and also Graveyard Shift. So I definitely recommend reading that.
That's interesting. I didn't realize, like, all of that stuff came from that. Yeah, this is my favorite thing about this movie is that, like, Stephen King was just like, I'm gonna direct it because if somebody's gonna get Stephen King right, it's gonna be me, and then just, like, wildly makes a movie that has, like, nothing to do with the short story.
Which I also think is, like, pretty rude, because at this point, like, this movie came out in �86, and there has been, like, a pretty good amount of movies to come out so far, and he was basically just like, everyone else is shit, here I come.
I mean, I feel like he was probably just still mad about The Shining. And just
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Because I know, like, even still, he kind of just, like, does not like Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining, which is insane to me.
Yeah, agreed.
To always have the made-for-TV version that we all so fondly remember.
I know I've watched it, and I could not tell you a single thing about it. I couldn't tell you who's in it. I could just tell you that it's The Shining. That's it.
I remember there were bees in a hotel room. That's literally all from the whole 4 hours.
I think I saw that version first because I was still relatively young. I think I remember watching it with my parents when it was airing. And I specifically remember the scene when the fucking make out scene in the bathroom where it just turns into the weird fucking scab creature lady. And that's the only scene I can remember from it. I couldn't tell you anything else from it. But yeah, it does not have Jack Nicholson in it being fucking amazing. So this movie stars Emilio Estevez as Bill Robinson, Pat Hingle as Hendershot, who I only wrote down because he played Commissioner Gordon in the first 4 Batman movies.
Oh wow!
The best Batman movies.
Should have just signaled for Batman.
Yeah,
this would have been a very different film.
But the Batmobile would be under the spell, so he couldn't. How's he gonna get there?
Batman can figure it out.
He's got that sweet glider thing, right?
I mean, we're gonna get into it, the depth of technology in this movie, because there's some shit in here that's fucking crazy. Laura Harrington as Brett, Yardley Smith as Connie, who is pretty much all you need to know is Lisa Simpson.
So amazing.
Oh, she's fucking terrible in this. It drives me crazy.
She just spends the entire time screaming at the top of her lungs, which I thought was hilarious.
She talks about how embarrassed she is of this movie all the time. And then the only other person I wrote down is Barry Nolan, who is credited as radio newscaster, specifically because he was the reporter in the Big Salad episode of Seinfeld.
Ah!
Giancarlo Esposito is also in this as video player. I don't remember it, but I remember reading about that. He was
the guy that gets electrocuted by the arcade machine?
I'm assuming the arcade guy, yeah.
I think so. But he was... I totally forgot his name. Gus in Breaking Bad.
Well, there's a shit ton of Scanners crossover and Eight-Legged Freak crossovers in this movie.
David Arquette's the soda machine.
Yeah, he plays the machine gun cart thing at the end. No, there's a shit ton of stunt people that worked on this movie that went on to be in a bunch of cool stuff. It was just too much stuff to write down. But I remember Eight-Legged Freaks and Scanners coming up a bunch in people's credits in this movie. And Emilio Estevez is the coach from Mighty Ducks, which is all you need to know him from. Which is probably the only thing anybody knows him from. Well, go ahead. Who do you know him from?
I just yelled Emilio again.
Oh, I thought you said I mean.
We're just going to be screaming Emilio at random points through this podcast.
This movie had a $10 million budget.
Oh my god,
I assume was all the drawbridge scene. And only made 7.4 worldwide, I think it was.
Yeah, it made 3.5 in North America.
Yeah.
They didn't make $7 million at all.
I mean, what's crazy too is that's $7 million in 1986 when movies cost $3. Katie, do you have any kind of trivia and stuff to go over before we jump in?
Yeah. So I mentioned this before in the It episode, but when he was directing this movie, that was when he was also doing revisions to it. So it was he was on set all day, and this was when he was drinking and doing drugs a lot too. So he would go on set, do all this crazy stuff with like trucks and shit, and then he would go and revise it, which just seems like insane to me. You already said it was the only movie directed by him. And so we'll get into this later, but the album AC/DC made called Who Made Who was released as like legit just the soundtrack for this movie. And so there was 5 songs that they wrote specifically for the movie, and then a bunch of other songs that were from like their other releases, obviously. And then the only other thing, it has a 5.4, I think, as the rating. Which actually is like not super bad.
That's too
I feel
high.
like. No. Okay, anyways. The only other thing that I have is that it was nominated for Worst Director, obviously, and Worst Actor for Emilio Estevez. And he lost out on getting Worst Actor to Prince for his role in Under the Cherry Moon. Yeah, which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, Emilio Estevez is not bad in this compared to, like, literally everybody else in the movie. Because, like, Pat Hingle playing Hendershot, I just fucking can't understand, like, anything he says throughout most of the movie. And Yardley Smith is just wailing the entire fucking time.
No, normally I have the subtitles on when I watch movies, because I just always have subtitles on, but the version that I watched didn't have subtitles, and so I couldn't understand anything that guy said the entire movie.
Under the Cherry Moon is amazing, and I am outraged that Prince was nominated as a Worst Actor.
Not only nominated, he won.
That's some nonsense. Although that movie is kind of crazy. Alright, so this movie opens with a bunch of nonsense on the screen that says, on June 19th...
You know a movie is gonna be good when it starts with some bright yellow text over a shitty, like, digital picture of Earth.
I can't remember if this said 1987 or 1982. I'm going to assume it was 1987 because, again, I can't read it in my handwriting. On June 19th, 1987 at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Earth passed into the extraordinarily diffused tail of Rhea M, a rogue comet. According to astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. Which means literally nothing to nobody in this movie. And I don't know if this is supposed to be some kind of more of a tie-in to, like, the short story.
No.
So what is the short story?
So basically the short story is like 9 pages long. There's only like 6 characters who are not really... Pretty sure it's told in the first person, but I assume it's supposed to be Emilio. But basically the only thing that happens is that they're already at the truck stop with like the people who were there, and then it just starts talking about how these trucks are being crazy. And so really the only part of it that's the same is that the trucks are like not letting them leave. They're like running people over or whatever. The thing happens where they're doing, well, I don't want to like spoil it, but basically where they're like doing the Morse code and they're like, hey, you need to come give us gas or whatever. And then this just goes on for like hours and hours. And before, when they say no, they start like wrecking the diner. There is somebody that gets thrown into a ditch. But the story basically, he's like, the main character is like, I don't know how long this is going to go on for. This is really crazy. I don't know what's happening. And then like, that's the end. There's nothing about space. There's nothing about a comet. It's like literally this is starting to happen and they have no idea why. And they have no idea how long it will go on for. So the fact that they start this off by saying like, hey, this thing's going to happen and it's only for 8 days, to me was like pretty lame.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the better route to go, is like, just, hey, I don't know why this is happening. Like, this is pretty wild.
I could almost guarantee there was probably some sort of like studio thing. There was just like, we need to, like, there needs to be some sort of explanation. People need to know what's going on or whatever. Because, especially in the 80s, like, everything needed to be, like, force-fed down your throat for, like, the general populace to understand movies, I guess.
Right. I mean, the whole reason that I liked this short story in general, which is something that he does a lot, is that, I mean, the movie did this too, is where you're like in some kind of like epidemic or crisis, and it's showing how you got to that point, like when it started, versus like, you know, The Walking Dead, where he just like wakes up and everything's all fucked up, which is like the thing that we see over and over again. But this was kind of like, oh, also in the short story, I'm pretty sure it was only automobiles. Like, I don't think it was any other kind of technology.
Fucking sprinklers attached to a fucking hose.
Yeah.
I need Stephen King to answer for that, because sprinklers in 1986 were not like machinery. It fucking drives me crazy. So after you get all of this fucking nonsense that's almost impossible to read, you open up in Wilmington, North Carolina, on a bank that the fucking little LED sign thing just starts saying "fuck you" over and over again, which I legitimately laughed. And then
this is like my favorite opening to a movie that I've watched in a very long time. I laughed very loud.
It's pretty good. And you get Stephen King making a cameo at an ATM that just starts calling him an asshole over and over and over again. It's pretty fucking great. And then,
I genuinely think Stephen King could have a good career as a character actor.
Stephen King should just start doing like Stan Lee and just showing up to things and just be like cameos, and that's it.
I mean, he does do cameos in a lot of his stuff.
He does, but well, so like when I was looking up like stuff about the movie, he's only in like 26 movies or something. Like he needs to start just being like, again, like be like Stan Lee and just anything Stephen King, just fucking show up in it for like a little like 2 or 3 line role.
Yeah. Have him in the cat suit for like one scene in Pet Sematary coming out.
Oh my god.
I would fucking
just like, Church, you look different. It's Stephen King sitting in a cat suit.
Oh my god. He's like, meow, I say.
He should just play, he just plays the cat like before it dies.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be fucking amazing. After this awesome intro, this is the first point I wrote, fuck AC/DC.
Wait, you forgot. He goes, this machine just called me an asshole. And he does this like crazy accent.
As everybody in this movie does. Because apparently North Carolina is like Arkansas to Stephen King. So everybody's just got like the most insane southern accents.
I mean, have you been there?
To North Carolina?
To Wilmington?
No, I've been to like the beach in North Carolina. Like, forget which one. A couple times.
Wilmington's like a little... That's where my parents live, not to like triangulate me. I mean, I tell people where I live all the time. But whenever I visit there, people have like very strong accents because a lot of them come from like South Carolina.
I mean, I just kind of put it on like a lot of these people were truck drivers, so they're from like other like places, but like none of the accents line up at all, and they're all almost impossible to understand. Granted, I also had like some bootlegged copy of it because I wasn't paying for fucking Stars or whatever to watch this, or spending $36 on the Blu-ray.
I own the Blu-ray.
Well, I've been wanting to buy it. I just did not have, $36 to fucking waste on it at the moment. But yeah, this is the first point AC/DC starts playing, and I got very angry because they are the worst band of all time. Maybe second worst band behind Kiss, and I will stand behind that because both of those bands are garbage.
I don't any of that kind of band has never been my favorite, so I'm gonna agree.
I noticed Kit being silent because he's a huge AC/DC fan.
He probably has like a
All right.
tattoo.
They're all right.
I like Who Made Who. Like I'll catch myself singing that mostly because of this fucking movie.
I think the only one they do Hell's Bells, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the only one that like I can stand. But when any of those other songs come on at work, I'm like, I quit. I'm gonna walk out right now.
I'm not gonna pretend like they're not catchy, but I just I hate them. I hate almost all of that like 70s, 80s classic rock stuff, or like whatever was considered classic rock when I was a kid. Like I can't stand any of it. Except Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac is the shit. So you get this fucking insane scene of this drawbridge kind of raising itself that had to have cost a shit ton of money. Just wrecking all of these fucking cars and watermelons.
What if they didn't get it in one take?
I mean, there's no way they did. Like, I can't imagine they had that many cameras. I would almost bet, like, I bet they had one camera that was set for, like, raising the drawbridge, like a wide shot, and I bet everything else was done, like...
Watermelon cam.
Yeah, all of the other stuff was just set up in watermelons.
That scene I thought was done really, really well. And I wrote just, like, random notes about the shit that's happening. The AC/DC van is there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it.
They were, I guess, supposed to make, like, a cameo, and they were just like, no thanks.
Well, they're like, what's the movie about? No, thank you. You can have our music, but, like, that's it.
Well, so one of the things on IMDb talked about how he got AC/DC to be, like, to score the movie or whatever.
Well, they're his favorite band.
Yeah, and like they agreed to do it because he sang one of their songs to them, like from memory, and they were just like, "Well, you're obviously a fan, so we'll give you some songs and like write a couple for the movie."
Listen, if that's all it takes to get someone to write you a song, like where are my songs? I mean, where are my cut songs?
It was 1986. It was a different time.
Wow.
Could you? But just I want to hear Stephen King sing AC/DC songs so bad now.
I am pretty sure that he was in a band. Now he was in a band at some point, but I don't know.
Was he in the band that was like a bunch of like authors or whatever?
Maybe. This is like really big info, but I've never actually heard. I can't imagine. I need to hear it now.
I think Matt Groening from The Simpsons was a part of it at some point. Because I remember them talking about, on some of the audio commentaries, they talk about like some band that was like a bunch of authors, and I think they mentioned Stephen King.
That's amazing.
I would pay so much money to listen to him just like belt out Thunderstruck. It'd be so good. Anyway, you were talking about the drawbridge scene.
Oh yeah, some lady goes through a window super hard.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And then my favorite part though is when this guy like falls into the water, and for some reason it's like a slow-mo, but he does this really loud like Tarzan yell. I don't know if it was him or if they just like plugged it in, but I was like, wow, this is gonna be some movie.
I would just wish that the truck that fell into the water would have landed on him, just to make it like even worse.
I feel bad for that truck because it came alive and it just drowned.
This is one of the things that
That's
drives me
awful.
crazy in this is like they're real inconsistent with like what cars come to life, because like Connie's car, like Connie and Curtis's car, never like comes to life. They're just driving it fine, and the fucking pervert Bible salesman, his car never seems to really have any issues other than the radio.
Yeah, I guess at this point, since they're like flashing in between all these scenes, you're supposed to think that it's just like gradually happening, but none of like, so the switch on the bridge turns itself on, but none of those cars or anything are like.
It's just kind of inconsistent. All of those cars should have just been like screaming the entire time. as they're getting wrecked. It'd been amazing if he was just like got that coked up that he just like gave them all voices.
Oh my god, if they like talked and shit.
So after this drawbridge scene where there's just fucking like mayhem everywhere, you get your first shot of the Green Goblin car or semi truck that seems incredibly impractical to be driving.
So is that? I got kind of confused with all the backs of the trucks. That's the toy truck, right?
Yes. But yeah, that thing seems, number one, illegal to have on the front of your truck. And also, like, it would be very difficult to, like, see past as you're driving. But it looks cool. And it's probably one of the first, like, big references to, like, Marvel stuff in a movie.
Is Maximum Overdrive, like, the canon?
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. It's the pre-MCU. It's like the X-Men universe.
Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna count it as canon.
I would fucking, like...
I fully expect in Endgame fucking Captain America to roll up in the Green Goblin mobile.
I would
it just like not even anybody driving it. It just smashes into Thanos,
yeah,
and that's the end.
He's like, "Hey guys, I'm here, honk honk."
Yeah,
and it's just Willem Dafoe again voicing it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, it'd be the fucking best. I'm amazed that like the Russo brothers haven't tried to put like some sort of reference to it in one of the movies. But yeah, you get introduced to Bill, Emilio Estevez's character, who is a cook at, what is it, the Dixie Boys truck stop?
Yeah, the Dixie Boy.
Dixie Boy. Who is apparently on parole, I guess, or like...
Yeah. Yes.
There's some, like, real lazy, like, trying to give some of these characters backstory, when really you don't need it. He could have just been, like, a chef. But, like, they try and give this weird backstory that, like, almost all of the people that work for Hendershot are, like, sort of in trouble with the law, and, like, the only reason they stay there is because he kind of blackmails them to. And, like, tells Bill that he needs to work 9 hours, but, like, only get paid for 8, and all this fucking dumb bullshit, and Emilio Estevez should have just fucking kicked him right in the dick immediately. You start getting kind of flashes. There's a bunch of shit that, like, you know, throughout the first probably, like, 20 minutes of this movie of, like, quick scenes of just quote-unquote machinery starting to, like, malfunction, coming to life or whatever. Specifically, you get a shot of, like, the arcade room at this truck stop. And, like, I don't remember why the guy says, "Your mama."
He says, "You mama."
Oh,
yeah. I was like, what?
I don't remember, like, why he says it. But it's just, like, I just think it's funny that, like, all of these arcade machines or whatever, like, the cigarette machine is spitting out, like, money and cigarettes and, like, all the...
He's just, like, grabbing all of them.
Yeah. Jamming all that shit into his pocket jacket. Like, you get a quick scene of... I didn't write the guy's name down. I want to say it's, like... Fuck, what was it? It's the kid's dad. I was like I got about half the names of this movie, and the other half I didn't, because I just fucking couldn't understand the fucking version I was watching. But this gas attendant is like pumping gas into, I think, the Green Goblin truck, and it stops pumping, and the obvious thing to do is to take it out and just look directly into it.
I was like, what the fuck?
And it obviously gets a face full of gas and just fucking starts screaming immediately, which he deserved it. That's what you get for looking straight into the fucking barrel of a gas pump. After that is when you get like the scene of Hendershot telling Bill that he needs to work the 9 hours, clocking out for one of them and staying on to work it. And you get the electric knife attack on, I believe her name is Wanda, who's one of the other kind of like waitress that is working at the truck stop. And it's like the one kind of, I don't want to say gore, but like you get like a bunch of blood in this one. It's like the only time you really get a lot of blood in this movie. It like starts cutting her hand and then falls to the floor and just like slicing into her ankle, and it's pretty good. And you get cut back to the arcade where one of the machines starts like hypnotizing the dude in there, and as he touches the machine gets electrocuted, which is how I want to go. I want to die by arcade machine.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Or, you know, like, I'll even take pinball, something in an arcade. Then you cut to the fucking awesome scene at the baseball diamond and the Little League game.
This is so good.
I fucking forgot all about it, and I was, like, losing it. There's this Little League game, and, like, the game ends, and, like, one of the coaches is just like, alright, I'm gonna buy everybody a soda.
No, he goes, come on, sodas, I'm buying. Just like that, and I was like, oh wow, he's stoked.
They probably lost. He's just trying to make it feel better. But he puts some money into the soda machine and nothing comes out, and you hear like some kid in the distance be like, oh, I guess no sodas for us. And then the soda machine just fucking hits him right in the balls with a full can of soda. I laughed so hard.
I laughed even harder. The machine's like, fuck you, Jimmy, and then starts like launching soda cans at all the kids, and they're either like get pegged and immediately pass out, or they're like running away.
According to IMDb, the two kids that fall down die.
I mean,
just get, like, smashed in the head with a full can of soda at like whatever speed. But I don't know, like the coach getting hit with like 5 or 6 cans of soda is fucking perfect. It's like maybe my favorite scene in this movie.
I think the steamroller scene's my favorite.
I think
the next one is fine.
Well, I this, and then like there's one quick thing later on that's probably my favorite that we'll get to, but yeah, like the one kid, his name's like Deke or something. Whoever like the kid is in this movie, who's on the baseball team that somehow does not get exhausted from riding his bike 8,000 miles.
This kid is like the hero of the movie. I just kept writing baseball kid. I don't know what his name was, but he was like the champ.
It's something with like a D. I want to say Deke, but I don't think that's correct. But it's something along those lines. But all the kids start fleeing from the soda machine, and like one of them is riding a bike and like flips over the handlebars and just gets fucking ran over by a bulldozer. Or like a steamroller, and it fucking rules. And I guess,
but like they show it, like
yeah, you see
his head getting crushed.
I guess they had originally shot something where they were going to have the original idea is they were going to put like a blood bag down so that when the steamroller hit it, the blood would get on the roller and then just leave like a print every like 5 feet or whatever of just like the blood.
Yeah.
And I guess what ended up happening is it hit the bag, but instead of bursting it the way it did, it kind of pushed out and then splattered outward. So it looked like the kid's head just popped. And I guess it was like Stephen King was like, that's even better, and left it. And I think that's one of the things that had to be cut out for like the MPAA.
Those bastards.
Right?
Have you watched any like the bonus stuff on the Blu-ray yet?
I have not.
Like I wonder if like any of that shit's actually on there. Like I feel because my understanding is like a lot of it was shot, so like I'm assuming it's probably on there. I'd be interested to see like what stuff actually made it onto that, because it seems like that Blu-ray's got like a shit ton of bonus stuff on it.
Yeah, there's a ton. I just haven't dug into any of it.
Yeah. After this scene, you're introduced to Brett and the Bible salesman, whose name I don't know, who is a pervert. And is like, they're driving down this highway, and Brett's trying to get the radio turned on. This dude keeps like grabbing her leg and like slowly moving his hand down her thigh, and she keeps telling him not to. He's real annoying. The radio comes in, and she hears like something about like getting off the highway because of like trucks coming to life, essentially, and like forces him to like pull into the Dixie Boy truck stop. She gets out of the car, and he starts yelling something at her, to which she replies, "Eat my shorts," which is perfect. The Green Goblin truck attempts to run over the fucking Bible salesman, and another AC/DC song came up, so I wrote "fuck AC/DC" again.
I admire the dedication.
I'm not kidding. It's every time AC/DC came up, I wrote "fuck AC/DC" in my notes. You're then introduced to Connie and her new husband Curtis. Connie is Yardley Smith, who just sounds like Lisa Simpson screaming throughout this movie. They stop at some random gas station and see a dead body.
Okay, but first of all, she's like telling him that he needs to pull over so she could go to the bathroom, and he's like asking if he can go in the bathroom and like watch her go to the bathroom. And I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, welcome to married life, Katie.
Listen.
You'll find out soon. That sounded more threatening than I meant it to be. Yeah, they pull into this truck stop, and they see like a dead body kind of hidden behind like a bush or something. And Curtis goes to check it out, and like Connie's like, "Are they okay? Are they dead?" It's just like a fucking limp body laying there. As they're kind of like checking out, trying to figure out what's going on, this like random red truck just fucking tries to run over Curtis. And
yeah, and then she goes, "Curtis, are you dead?"
Oh god, that was a perfect impression of that. Yeah, like this truck almost hits Curtis, and like a fucking light pole like lands on him or some shit, and he gets up, and they end up like getting out of there with Yardley Smith's crazy ass driving.
I was gonna say, this entire time she's like screaming. They get in the car, she peels out of the parking lot and is literally sounds like a banshee. She's just like guttural screaming.
Yeah, like her driving is pretty fucking spot on. It's one of those few times that you actually like. I'm wondering if she's actually driving, because it looks like somebody that's like actually terrified trying to drive, because it's so like erratic. Probably the most realistic acting in this movie is her driving that car. You cut back to the Dixie Boy truck stop, and Bill's kind of investigating the Green Goblin truck. Like, goes in and like nobody's in it. Opens like the little back, like the little sleeping area inside the truck, and you get like he pulls back the curtain, and there's a Green Goblin Jack in the Box that I desperately want in it.
Yeah, I was like, are those available?
Oh, I want one so bad. I imagine they probably made them if this movie had done any business. He kind of like is starting to put together that something's going on with like the trucks. And you cut back to the kid riding his bike through the streets, and this is when you get the sprinklers that are just like turning on themselves. It drove me crazy because sprinklers in the 80s were not attached to anything other than like a hose.
Those are goddamn mechanical sprinklers.
I I fucking hate it. It makes me so mad. And then you see a dead dog in this, and I hate it.
Yeah, I wrote dead dog, sad face.
For killing dogs in movies. The dog should have been the hero, and he should have just killed the kid instead.
Agree.
You get this fucking dumbass ice cream truck.
I love the ice cream truck.
Like, what's the name on it? Did anybody get that? It's like...
No.
It's like...
Yeah, I didn't.
I think it was like... It's like Miss T... or fuck. I don't know why I didn't write it down. I was like, I'll remember this, and now I can't. But this ice cream truck is kind of chasing down this kid. He hides in some bushes and then comes out and immediately starts getting chased by a lawnmower, which seems much worse than an ice cream truck. I have no idea anymore what this quote was in reference to, but it was just "Leave me alone, you fat fuck."
Oh, well, I don't know. Next thing that I have is that the Bible guy is trying to like sell Bibles to people, and the stuff that he says is so ridiculous. He's like, "This Bible's got everything." Like, okay.
God, what was this fucking quote in reference to? It had to have been something with like, I'm assuming it was just like something Brett said to somebody in the fucking truck stop. But yeah, you got the whole group's kind of there, like the main group except like the kid at the truck stop, and they're just kind of like locked inside, kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And the Bible salesman is trying to sell Bibles to somebody there, just like spouting off a bunch of bullshit as a trash semi comes like pulling up, and the dude who got a face full of gas, who I just referred to in my notes as Gas Face, like decides he's gonna leave because he's like the kid, it's like the kid's dad, and even though he can't really see because his fucking eyes are all burnt, he's gonna go trying to find his kid. They try and stop him, but he's just like, fuck it, I'm going anyway. Immediately gets run over by this trash semi that then kind of turns and smashes into the fucking Bible salesman's car. It just dumps trash all over it. It was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then he like comes out and he's like, "You want to rock and roll with me, puss bag?"
Oh, that's the only other quote I wrote down. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna start saying that all the time. If I'm ever getting into a fight ever again in my life, that's the first thing that's coming out of my mouth.
You want to rock and roll?
They'd be like, what?
He like gets all pissed off and starts running out towards his car, and the Green Goblin truck just world stars the shit out of him. Knocks his ass out straight into a fucking like little creek in the fucking side of this truck stop.
Like knocks his fucking shoes off.
It is like minus like the soda can scene. I think that's like my favorite part of the movie, because he just gets fucking like just smashed into and just fucking knocked straight out of his shoes. After that, all of the semis start kind of coming to life and like circling the truck stop. I would also like to know how much money was used
in gas.
Yeah, I would say in gas, just filming some of this shit. Or like
the whole back half of the movie was just like a real situation. Like, it's not that the trucks wanted gas in the movie; they didn't have gas for them anymore.
I would like to know how long this movie took to shoot, and like, because in reality, like, it all takes place pretty much in like one spot for, you know, like 85% of it. But like, I would assume it just had to, like, there'd have been so much coordination going on with all of this all these trucks and like all this shit, trying to get it all shot and like not look like garbage. fuck, I don't remember where we're at. Being sick is the worst.
The Bible guy got fucked up, and then there's like this weird scene where Brett is in her clothes, and Amelia was like very like there, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Well, I touched that guy, and now he's dead. I don't want to." And she like feels weird that he touched her clothes, and now he's dead, so she's like changing her clothes.
Oh yeah, because I wrote down that Bill and Brett are the worst at flirting.
Yeah.
Before that, though, is when you get Hendershot with his fucking bazooka that he just has for, like, just reasons.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think right before that, too, is when Connie and Curtis show up to the truck stop. And, like, there's, like, a gap sort of in between some of the trucks that Curtis is just like, oh, I can make that gap. He goes to drive through and just gets his fucking car flipped over. Con gets stuck in the car, like flipped over, and is just wailing. But they get out of there, you know, they're now at the truck stop as well. And after Bill and Brett are just being terrible at flirting, Bill is talking to one of the other like gas station attendants who is taking a shit at the time. And having total normal bathroom conversations as Bill is just looking over the stall talking to him.
Yeah, what the heck?
I mean, welcome to men's restrooms, Katie.
Okay, so I don't think it's weird that he was like went in there to talk to him or whatever, but I do think it's really weird that he like looked over the stall. That's so weird.
All of it is weird. Never talk to me if you see me in a restroom. I do not want to talk to you, but like for some reason, especially I can only talk about in like a men's restroom. People will come in there and immediately just be like, how's your day? What's going on? How are you? And I'm just like, shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
That is really weird. And I have to say that weird stuff happens to me in the bathroom at work, but that's like a different story. But like just in normal bathrooms, like I've never had somebody talk to me.
It's always the best when there's like a wall of like 18 urinals and like you're the only one in there and some dude walks in and just stands immediately right next to you.
Every time.
Why?
I don't know. And it's always like a dude that like is one of those dudes that just drops his pants all the way to the floor. I worked with numerous people like that at one of my old jobs and it drove me fucking crazy. But yeah, Bill...
Can we just take a stance against that?
Yeah, hard stance about anything. Talking to people in the restroom, dropping your pants at the floor, because that's just gross.
Yeah. Don't you say a goddamn word to me if you ever see me in the bathroom.
Even if you see me laying on the ground having a heart attack, just leave me there.
Yeah.
Don't fucking bother me.
Step outside and call someone, okay?
But yeah, Bill's talking to this dude about asking him where Hendershot got this bazooka, and you find out that Hendershot has basically like an arsenal of, I guess, stolen guns or something, some sort of guns and shit he has illegally in the basement of this truck stop.
So are we supposed to think he was like running some kind of like illegal business or something? Because it was a ton of stuff. It was like an entire like infantry like amount of stuff.
Yeah, my guess was something like maybe he's just got some kind of own underground thing that he's like selling guns maybe to like truckers or something. I don't know, but it's all like guns. It's not even like guns I would figure would be useful for like a trucker. They're like machine guns and shit. This is when I noted that I can't understand half of what Hendershot says because he just like comes in the basement and yells at Bill, but I don't know what he says at all. As I wrote, fuck AC/DC again. This is when I know this kid has to be exhausted. I think this is when, like, he sees that, the airplane or whatever, and he, like, hides behind, I don't know, like a sign or something, and gets out, and you see he's got 2 more miles to the truck stop, and I'm like, this kid has to have been riding his bike, like, all day already, and still has 2 more miles to go.
Fuck.
You cut back to the truck stop where Bill and Brett have definitely fucked. and she says, "You make love like a hero."
I laughed so hard. And then they do this like really gross. They're like kissing, but the sound that they're making is like really disgusting.
He also like
well, not like that, but
I mean,
close.
He also like wipes something off her forehead that I'm assuming is sweat, and then like licks it off his finger, and it's real gross.
Ooh.
Or I mean, it's like a restaurant. Who knows? They could add some food going on. It's just
let's not.
Scrambled eggs on her forehead. Scrambled eggs and hash browns, because it's like all you see him make.
Sizzling some bacon.
Yeah. This is also when well, go ahead.
Do you have cupcakes? They're like eating cupcakes or something, and they're like talking about running away together. So.
Oh no, she like at some point they have she's like eating donuts. She has those like white powdered donuts, I think.
Oh, okay.
This is the first point that it occurred to me that I was just like, why don't these semis all just like smash into this fucking building and kill everybody?
Seems so easy, right?
This movie could have been 15 minutes long. Fuck AC/DC again. And then I don't remember what this was in reference to, but I just put LOL at the salesman. I think it's maybe he's starts screaming when they realize that he's still alive out there.
Yeah.
And
which one of the big differences between the story and this is that in the story he starts like yelling for help and they do not go to help him.
I wouldn't. That dude sucks. I mean, pretty much she's annoying, but if they should have just listened to Connie throughout like the entire movie and just not helped any of these people. I still have really no idea what their plan was or how any of this was kind of put into place where they crawl through this weird like sewer. But they've somehow come up with this plan to get into the sewer through the basement of this truck stop, and
there's a separate building that had like a showers in it, and they like got through the sewer that way.
I don't buy it. I've seen truck stop like shower, like the ones that have like showers and stuff for like actual truck drivers, and I have never seen any sort of sewer thing that could fit a person in it. So
I haven't either, and my whole thought when they were like sloshing around, isn't that like that's like gross drip off water and also like pee and poop water. So
yeah, the one dude like says something about it right before Bill falls like face first into it.
Oh, maybe that's for I wrote, wonder how many people have peed in this.
Yeah, like the guy, he says something about like how the water has probably got a bunch of pee in it. At this point, the kid has shown up to the truck stop and kind of sees what's going on, and is kind of like comes across a like drainage pipe that has some sort of like wire and shit all over it, and like comes across the salesman where you get this pretty stupid jump scare of the salesman, or he thinks he's dead and like pops up and grabs him and is just like demanding pull him out of this ditch, which the salesman is probably easily 280 pounds and this kid is probably like 90. My next note is just Connie sucks so much. I don't remember why, I'm just assuming she's just continuing to scream. They get like Bill and Curtis kind of get out, like they show up outside after going through the sewer, and they come across the kid and the salesman, who I'm guessing now is dead. He's just never heard from again in the movie. They get the kid, they get back into the truck stop. This point, I think they all just kind of like go to sleep and rest, and you see Bill's sleeping area that is just covered in porn, like all over the wall.
Naturally.
They are woken up by a bulldozer that is just kind of smashing shit around the fucking truck stop, and what I can only describe as a machine gun cart, because it's not really like a car or truck. It's this weird, like... One...
I was calling it a turret. I don't know if that's, like...
I think that's, like, the actual name of the gun with...
The
like,
gun.
that's, like, on the thing, but I don't know. I don't know if that would be named for the little thing that's, like, driven on, but that works.
I forget what those little flatbeds are called.
I just kept calling it a cart in my notes. It was like the only thing I could come up with.
It makes it sound so much fun.
Yeah.
Gun cart.
I want that for Mario Kart.
Russia! Oh my god, yes!
At this point, like, Henderson just decides to fucking shoot another thing. Like, shoot his bazooka at this fucking bulldozer and blows it up, and then just immediately gets obliterated by the machine gun cart. At which point, Wanda, the waitress, runs out and just starts screaming, "We made you."
Yeah, this is like the third time.
What were you saying, Katie?
She, like, freaked out earlier. She just was, like, yelling, "You can't, we made you." And she's like, "We made them, they can't do this." But then I think, doesn't she has the rocket launcher too, and, like, blows up a truck or whatever, but then she gets, like, taken out.
I think she picks it up, but I can't remember if she blows something up, because I would imagine she would have had to have, like, loaded it. I don't
think they thought about that.
Yeah, it's true. But she gets shot by the machine gun thing as well. And at this point, I think it's the machine gun cart that starts doing the Morse code. But one of them starts honking their horn to do Morse code. The kid understands Morse code and starts trying to, like, figure out what they're saying, and essentially just comes down to that they want fuel because they're running out. Bill goes out to tell them, like, my favorite thing about the rest of this movie is that it's literally just, like, Emilio Estevez acting against trucks. It's fucking pretty awesome.
Doing his faces and leaning up against trucks.
Oh, when, like, they run out or whatever, and, like, the one truck just starts, like, running into him a little bit, and he's just, like, yelling at this truck is, like, my favorite.
He's, like, literally talking to it like you would it's, like, nudging him, and he's like, "What? What is it, boy?"
It's fucking so good. But Bill goes out and tells them that if they want fuel, that to tell all of their friends that they have the prime uncut stuff that you won't get on the coasts. And, like, to all come there or whatever, and they'll fuel them up. Fuck AC/DC again. You get, like, a montage of everybody there working in 90-something, 100-degree heat, filling up all these trucks. They eventually run out of gas, and that's when you get the scene of Bill kind of being nudged by some truck, and he's, like, screaming at it, and he's like, "I don't know what you want me to do," and then, like, a truck full of gasoline shows up, so then he's got to fucking refill the pumps with gas and then start filling the trucks again. Bill kind of goes back in because he's like somebody comes to take his place after he's just been working all day and he's, like, tired. He comes up with some fucking real stupid plan. It goes out and, like, talks to one of the the people helping. And as they're, like, walking back, he's just like, "Oh, I just, when I say, just start running." He's like, "Just trust me, just start running." Tells this dude to start running, drops a grenade on the machine gun cart, and blows it up. At this point, the trucks are all pissed. And the group crawls through, like, a fucking drainage pipe thing to get that the kid tells them about to escape the truck stop. Their plan is to go to the marina to get to an island named Haven that I believe is, like, something from another Stephen King story. From, like, some of the stuff I was looking at, or, like, there's something coming out named Haven that's Stephen King related, that maybe that's what it was, something like that. I don't know, but Haven has something to do with Stephen King that I don't remember.
Well, I know that and earlier when they were talking about Brett and Billy were talking about like what they were gonna do, he was like, there's this island where there's no truck, or and he specifically says there's no vehicles, and that's like actually real in North Carolina. You have to take a ferry there, and there's no trucks allowed. But then, like, what about the other electronics?
Yeah, I don't think they fucking put that together, because I mean, because if you think of, well, I don't know.
There's bound to be a shitload of sprinklers.
I mean, like, Bill should be aware, because it's not like, I mean, the arcade obviously was like up in the electric knife or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. Like, pretty much all they've really dealt with is just trucks, or, you know, like some sort of automobiles.
Or I guess maybe you're supposed to think that the trucks have some sort of power to control the other stuff, because like the trucks, at some point the power goes off, and then when they decide that they're gonna like gas them up, the power comes back on. So I guess maybe, are we just supposed to think the trucks are telepathic? Maybe.
I don't even necessarily think it's that, as much as it's just they're all working together. Because I mean, like my assumption is that they're all being controlled by like the same force or whatever. So, like, they're all kind of in cahoots. But I don't know. None of it's ever really explained. So, after they all kind of escape the truck stop, an oxygen truck fucking like blows up at the truck stop, and then just like all of
yeah, you get this weird like shot of a bunch of trucks just like ramming into the truck stop.
Should have happened 10 minutes into the movie. I'd wrote fuck AC/DC again, by the way. I still have 3 more of them in here, I think.
Oh my god, there's like not that much of the movie left even.
This oxygen truck like blows up, all the semis just start like smashing into the fucking truck stop. The group starts heading towards the marina, trailed by the Green Goblin truck. They stop at like some sort of fast food place where like the speaker just starts like yelling "humans here." Just pretty fucking good.
I don't know what he did, but I wrote that the little boy goes, "This is for my dad, you loudmouth son of a bitch."
He shoots it with like a machine gun after he says, and then hands the machine gun to Curtis, I think, who Curtis and Brett just shoot the ice cream truck that comes back.
I was like so stoked when I saw it. Just was like, and then they just like got rid of it so easily.
They like shoot it and it just manages to like the bullet somehow make it flip over. The group makes it to the marina and all go to get on the sailboat, except for one dude who stops to steal a ring off some dead lady in a truck and gets hit by the Green Goblin. Bill shoots a bazooka at the Green Goblin truck and it blows up, and they all set sail for Haven. And I wrote fuck AC/DC again. Go ahead.
I think when he blows him up, he goes, "Adios, motherfucker."
Fuck. I was like, probably. I stopped writing quotes down and like after a while because they're just all real terrible. As they're setting sail, you get more yellow words on screen that are supposed to help you understand more of the plot, but just made it more confusing for me. That read, 2 days after, a large UFO was destroyed in space by a Russian weather satellite, which happened to be equipped with a laser cannon and a Class 4 nuclear missile. Approximately 6 days later, the Earth passed beyond the tail of Rhea M, exactly as predicted. So, and then I wrote fuck AC/DC at the very end. So, am I supposed to assume that the comet had nothing to do with this and it's all extraterrestrials that were controlling everything? What's the fucking point of the UFO?
I think that... Oh, I don't know.
Or like the Russians were doing... I don't know.
That seems like what it was implying. Was it supposed to be aliens? But
I think that maybe they're trying to say that the aliens came in under the skies of the comet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
and
everyone thought it was the comet, but it was actually aliens doing it.
My favorite ending.
I just like that out of nowhere. It's just like, no, it's aliens. The end.
And then it said something like, "These people all survived." I was like, okay, cool, I guess.
I love
that
they couldn't like film a good ending, so like, we'll just throw some shit on the Word and we'll post it on the screen. It'll be fine.
Did that a lot in the like 70s and 80s. Yeah, that's this movie. I do like this movie. It just was hard to watch this morning when I was like out of work after like 9 hours, and I was just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. What were you gonna say, Katie?
I think it had a lot of really great one-liners in it.
I mean, it's got my new fucking fight one-liner with fucking, what is it? You want to rock and roll with me, puss bag? Yeah, I don't know. I suggest watching it. It's real like not great looking. The Blu-ray may look a lot better than what I had, but like it's got that real kind of like grainy, low budget 80s look to it.
The version that I had watched was like very small and like super pixelated, so I can't really comment like on how it looked, but
I'll say I think most of the time I've ever seen it, it's been like on TV, so I don't know what the Blu-ray looks like. It may look a lot better.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Does it?
Surprisingly.
Yeah, I would say I'd suggest watching it. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It's like a fun watch. As opposed to like there's some real garbage Stephen King adaptations out there.
Well, and I think like for all like people die in it, but it's not like the plot of it's not super heavy, which, you know, most of his other stories are like horribly depressing and like all this stuff, but it was pretty like whatever as far as like that kind of content goes.
Yeah, and it's not like overly bogged like some of his stuff can get. Like it's not it's like the plot is literally just like trucks that have people like trapped in this fucking truck stop for the most part. So it's not like really difficult to follow. Like I could see like it you kind of have to pay attention to because there's just like, especially like jumping back and forth between stories and just kind of trying to figure out like what's going on. Like this you could kind of just sit and watch and be like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. Like it's just like electrical equipment and like just machinery is coming to life and attacking people. The end. That's all you need to know. Until you get to the end and then you're just like, oh, it was aliens, question mark?
Yeah, I mean, like, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I didn't really get like any news. I think the only thing, which isn't even really news that's brand new, but like I was listening to Shudder's She Kills podcast, and they have one with like Jennifer Tilly, and she was kind of dropping some info about the Child's Play TV series that I guess is going to be like an anthology type thing where like one episode may be about like some adventure like Chucky was on, and then part of it like another, like the next episode may be like following the Cult of Chucky movie, and then the next episode just may be something that like Tiffany and Chucky doing shit or whatever. So that kind of sounds interesting. Also, Us comes out this month, doesn't it?
This week?
This week, fuck.
It looks very scary.
I need to go. I might just take a day and see that Captain Marvel, because I still haven't seen Captain Marvel.
I got my tickets. I'm so ready.
I gotta even figure out if it's gonna fucking play here, because I don't know if it's like a limited release or if it's gonna be like a big, full, like everywhere release or not, but it looks so good. Next week we're gonna be watching Dreamcatcher. I don't know if that's streaming anywhere. It looks like everything that was streaming when we made these plans has moved to like Stars.
Yeah, it's not streaming for anything that you don't have to subscribe to.
Yeah, I would say if you already have like Prime or Hulu, you can do like a Stars trial and then just fucking clip. But
that's what I did for it. I did buy Dreamcatcher though, so we'll see.
I would say I've just bought it on DVD because I found it for like $2 or $3. You can follow us on Twitter at I Hope You Suffer, Facebook at I Hope You Suffer Pod. Specifically follow Instagram because that's where like most of the stuff I do is on at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. My friend Tiffany sent me a bunch of buttons and stickers from the logo Katey made that I think at some point in April I might do like a contest or some shit. I gotta send both of you some first so I make sure you guys get some of them. But I might do like a contest of some sort for like some of those because I got like a shit ton of buttons. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. Yeah, watch Dreamcatcher for next week. It's insane.
The best.
I mean, it's not even like bad as much as it's just fucking super crazy.
It's fascinating that it got made because it's such an insane concept that should work in film.
It's fascinating that it got made. It's even more fascinating that it got made with real actors in it.
Yeah, a big budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember that coming out. Like, I mean, obviously, I was not old enough when all of these other movies that really came out to like know if it was like part of the mainstream, but I remember it being like seeing trailers for it on TV.
Yeah.
It was a decently big deal at the time. At least it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, like it. I imagine with like the cast that's in it, it had to have been like had to have been some money pushed behind it. But yeah, it'll be next week, and we're gonna have to figure something out for after that. I'm not sure if we have. I'm gonna be gone the first week of April, so we may have to record something extra, maybe something early, and then if not, I can just throw that second episode of Mortal Kombat Annihilation or whatever out there.
Oh yeah.
We'll figure that out. All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
You want to rock and roll with me, puss bag?